In today's episode, Unpacking Coaching Heavy and Coaching Light, featuring Joellen and Killion. Hello, coaches! Welcome back to another episode of Coach Better Quick Tips. My name is Kim Cafino, and I've worked with hundreds of teachers, coaches, and leaders in schools around the world to help them create thriving and sustainable instructional coaching programs. And I'm on a mission to help you coach better. Wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you. Come learn with us in one of our courses or private mentoring packages designed specifically for instructional coaches. Join our global Coach Better community, ask any questions you'd like to hear us answer, and find all of our resources for instructional coaches on our website at coachbetter.tv. You can also find us on social media at Eduro Learning, in our Coach Better Facebook group, and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to catch all of our latest videos. If you're not sure where to start, take our free quiz to get a tailored list of resources delivered straight to you and designed specifically for your level of coaching experience. Find it at coachbetter.tv/quiz. In today's episode, we are talking about one of my personal biggest aha moments in my coaching career, when I uncovered the concept of coaching heavy versus coaching light. This is a highlight from one of my favorite episodes from a previous season. If you're a longtime Coach Better listener, you know that Joellen Killion is my instructional coaching superhero, and her episode from a few seasons ago was a masterclass in all things instructional coaching. In this episode, we dig deep into coaching heavy and coaching light, and it's a perfect introduction to thinking about and reflecting on the type of coaching support that you're providing to your coaching partners. So many of my clients get stuck in the advice trap, or constantly feeling like they have to prove their worth to potential coaching partners by being on demand for resource support. This conversation with Joellen highlights an essential mindset shift for instructional coaches. As Joellen says in the episode, results can build relationships as relationships can build results. If you're finding yourself stuck in the mindset that you need to build relationships before you can see results, you are going to love this clip with Joellen. And if your goal is to be more intentional and strategic in your coaching practice and program this academic year so that you and your coaching partners see the results that they're working towards, this episode is for you. Stay tuned until the end to see how you can put all of this in practice in the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program. Okay, let's jump into the clip. One of the things that Clint and I are always talking about, and I know you and I talked about this a little bit on the Women Who Lead interview, we all want to see improved instruction. We all want to help teachers be better every day. We're always, striving for this improvement in our professional practice. And I think that comes from having these heavy coaching conversations. And I know that's like a key phrase. I hear your name immediately. I go from coaching light to coaching heavy. How do we make this transition? How do we make this easier for coaches and even for teachers? Because it's interesting to talk with coaches about when teachers are a little bit resistant to transitioning from those light conversations to those heavy coaching conversations. So can you tell us a little bit about the background of coaching light to coaching heavy, and then how we kind of get into those kinds of conversations as coaches with the teachers we work with?
I am honored to do that. The background is really pretty easy to tell. It was working with the school system that I worked with a colleague for many, 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 many years. I'm going to say it was at least 10 years. We had a close association with this school system, helped design, develop, implement their coaching program. And we found after even 2 or 3 years that teachers were continuing to ask the same question over and over and over and over again. And it was the question, how do I build a relationship with the teachers I work with? And it dawned on me that teachers held an assumption that it was relationship before results. And I pondered that for quite a long time, because that assumption is not necessarily an accurate assumption. I think results can build relationships just as easily as relationships can build results. And so we spend some time grappling with this issue. And in one of my in the middle of the night ideas, I came to this notion of coaching light, which is coaching to build and sustain and for the purpose of a relationship only, to this notion of coaching heavy, which was coaching for results. And what I found in talking with teachers and administrators and coaches was that when coaches saw their work only from the lens of helping teachers feel better, helping teachers feel supported, being valued and appreciated as coaches, that they very often literally came up against a wall. And the wall they needed to learn to push through was the wall of results. How do we get through that worry about maybe they won't like me if I raise the question about students not learning in their classrooms, to get to the point where we can actually talk about results? And so we tussled with those terms, coaching heavy, coaching light, when I first shared it with a group of coaches and principals together in the same room. Principals were all over that idea, and coaches were freaking out because they assumed that it meant being dictatorial, being heavy-handed, being very directive, being almost supervisory in their approach, when in fact it isn't any of those things. It is about putting results of high quality teaching and learning for students in the forefront, and keeping that in our view at all times, and holding ourselves accountable and responsible for both of those things. So once we got over the horror of just that whole notion of heavy and light, I think people have really come to appreciate the idea that all coaches, regardless of how long they've been coaching or how long they have been working with a particular client, really do want to see results. And it is through results that teachers themselves come to appreciate the value of coaching and come to appreciate their coaches more than they would if they're not helping them produce results. So it's been an interesting concept. I continue to get questions about it, and coaches continue to struggle with this idea. And yet I think it's so important for us to remember that the reason we're in our positions is to produce better results, both for the adult and the students.
I think one of the things that I struggled with when I initially read some of your work around coaching heavy and coaching light was this thought that I always needed to be on that heavy side. And I think over time, what's helped me kind of sustain even just my own motivation is this idea that I'm actually fluctuating between focusing on those relationships and focusing on those results. And if I'm too much on the relationships, then maybe the focus on the results wanes a little bit. And if I'm too much on the results, then the relationships might get strained a little bit. And it's really trying to find that balance, or dipping in and out of that, and I came later to heard this term of what do we call it, where you just constantly going back and forth. It's part of the adaptive schools protocols. Polarity, like managing that polarity between heavy results and light relationships, and knowing where that right balance is. And it's constantly shifting.
Yeah. And I think there is some both and in that work, and maintaining the relationship is critical. And as you know, when we get pushed into our discomfort, it's in that space we have our greatest opportunity for learning. And it isn't intended to be discomfort with judgment or discomfort that creates that critic aspect or critical judgment of good, bad performance. It's creating enough dissonance for us to even want to examine our practice and to look for opportunity to find growth. And I'm an advocate of creating dissonance as an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, that cognitive dissonance, like you said, right? And having that cognitive discomfort rather than that personal or that relationship discomfort. I think that is the art of coaching, is how do you raise those questions in a way that isn't threatening, but that does get your coaching counterpart to really start thinking about their own practice, a little bit of self-evaluation. And then that whole idea of coaching is invitational. So by raising the question, they then actually come with actually, I would really like to focus on this. And that's where this toolbox of skills and this toolbox of questioning techniques and is really helpful. But it is focusing on, how am I going to ask you that question that is really going to ponder your thoughts about results in student learning.
Right. It really is creating a safety net to take that risk that you're talking about. That's the part that's just so important. Enough safety, enough sense of being supported, feeling as if, I can fail here and it'll be perfectly okay, to be able to take the risk in a new way of thinking, in a new way of practicing, and be willing to explore the results of that work.
Do you have any words of wisdom or specific phrasing that you like to use when helping maybe newer coaches kind of make that transition to a heavier conversation or results-oriented conversation? I have a lot of coaches I work with that they feel the wall and they're not sure. We talk through it, we work through it, what they could possibly say, but here I am, like, with the absolute expert. Do you have any words of advice? And I know every situation is unique and I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but is there anything that you would offer to those coaches that are feeling that wall, knowing that they've been focusing on building that relationship, but there's still some aspect of discomfort to like taking it to a deeper level? What are some strategies they can use in that context?
Yeah, that question is such a good question to ask, Kim, because I don't want coaches to feel that they are overstepping. Yet I think the one strategy that really is helpful is to encourage our clients to articulate what they want. What is it they're striving for? And to take the time to articulate what it looks like when it's successful. So whenever we can help someone be clear about what he or she is striving to accomplish, what that person wants to gain or to change, and those indicators of what will it look like when I'm there? What will it feel like? What will I be doing? What will students be doing? All of that conversation kind of creates the picture of what it is I'm striving for. And by engaging our client in taking the time to articulate that, what we're doing is building ownership and that sense of responsibility for achieving it. And the coach is not telling anybody what it needs to look like. We're listening and capturing and probing and encouraging our clients to be more thoughtful and analytic about what they want. So rather than just accept what's at the surface, let's dig a little deeper. And it's in that depth and specificity that I think we really can help our clients be open to stepping across that wall, if we want to use that metaphor repeatedly here. How do I get somebody over the wall? Well, I can do it by reminding you what you said you wanted.
It's so interesting to hear the way you describe that so cleanly, like just in whatever, 7 sentences, because that's it. It's the ability to keep listening and just continue probing, like you said, for that specificity. And I think sometimes, especially for newer coaches, and I can feel their stress, like feeling like they're overstepping the bounds, exactly what you said at the very start of the answer to that question. And it really, it's, you're coming back to what the client, what the teacher is looking for, you're not overstepping bounds. But I think sometimes there's this feeling of like, I'm reminding you of the thing you know you don't have. And it's like a little feeling of like a little bit of discomfort. Like, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable, but just like you said a bit earlier, that's our opportunity for growth. So I think it's this getting this skill of being able to listen and ask the question that gets the coachee to do the thinking of what they want it to look like, what they want it to feel like, what the students will be doing, what they will be doing. That is, then we keep coming back to what they said. Well, you said at this point that you were looking for this, and we talked about that you're looking for this. That's how are we going to get there? How are we going to get there? How are we going to get there?
Right. And when you get that, what will you have? How will you feel? What will be the benefit for you? What will be the benefit for your student? And, you know, I learned long ago in my coaching development that if I can describe it with specificity, it is far more likely to be achieved than if I don't have the capacity to be specific. And so a lot of time on what, and very little time on the how is needed. And I think we do that backwards in coaching, particularly coaching in schools. We spend a lot of time on the how without clarity about the what.
You said something just then as well about reminding your client what it's going to feel like when they get there. I think a lot of times I fall into the trap of, like Kim was saying, focusing on the what is it that you want to improve, but also not helping to celebrate what's going to happen when we get there. Because I think that takes the edge off of, you know, that feeling of the wall, right? Yeah, I'm going to push you over the wall and it's going to be uncomfortable. But when we do that, look at everything that we're going to have when we get there. The journey is worth all of the hurdles and the climbing.
That's right. And we develop that sense, the ability when we describe it in that way, we are helping our clients be able to self-assess. We are helping them be in charge of their own ability to monitor progress and to be able to set their own milestones rather than someone outside of them do that.
Which is the ultimate goal in my mind of coaching, is how do I help you do this self-sufficiently next time so that we can focus on perhaps something else, because you can continue to do this because you can set those milestones and we have a process that you can model. That's the difference to me between coaching and supervision or, you know, anything like that. Is like, we want to build self-capacity.
Exactly. That self-actualization, the ability to take on any change in any context and have the capacity to know how to do it with or without the coach, and hopefully even without the coach.
Thanks for watching this clip with Joellen. I hope you found this conversation as insightful and relevant as I did when I spoke to Joellen myself. If you've been a longtime listener to the podcast or subscriber here on YouTube, you already know that the continuum of practice for instructional coaches, make sure to listen to or watch episode 150 with Laura Lipton for more on that info, is a huge topic of conversation. Understanding the difference between consulting, collaborating, and coaching is often a big aha moment that my clients have in the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program. If it's time for you to think about the ways that you're supporting your coaching partners along this continuum and how much time you're spending coaching heavy versus coaching light, now is the perfect time to join us for the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program. In the Coach, we work through the Thrive model for sustainable instructional coaching, so you are focused on building a coaching culture within your school while you're also developing your coaching practice as an individual coach. We use the 3 phases of the Thrive model: clarity, consistency, and community to help you grow your coaching program and your coaching practice at the same time. In Phase 1, Clarity, we explore all the different roles that coaches fulfill in schools. In Phase 2, Consistency, we unpack how you can navigate between different coaching stances to best meet the needs of your coaching partner. In Phase 3, Community, we highlight how you can track data in each of those coaching stances to measure your impact on student learning. To dig deeper into the Thrive model, make sure to download our coaching program evaluation and watch the Thrive workshop. You'll get a deeper understanding of the model and be able to evaluate your coaching program and practice to see where you have opportunities for growth. Find all of those free resources at edurolearning.com/thrive. And as you work through those, if you discover you need more support as you go through the process, that's what we're here for in the Coach Certificate and Mentorship Program. You will learn everything you need to be successful as a K-12 instructional coach with an entire academic year of curated coaching content. And you'll also get the support of a mentor to adapt your learning to exactly your needs and experience for the entire program. This program is truly personalized because we know you're coming to the coach with your own experience and expertise and your own needs in your unique school setting. So wherever you are in your coaching journey, we can support you in taking that next step forward. Plus, inside our private community, you will learn with a global cohort of coaches from schools around the world, so you can see how coaching really works in other schools and build your network of coaches. Our global cohorts open only once a year. Get all the details and join the waitlist for our next cohort at edurolearning.com/coach. If you'd like a transcript of this conversation and all of our other resources for instructional coaches, head over to our website at coachbetter.tv to find the show notes for today's episode. If you're curious right now and you have questions, please reach out. You can leave a comment below. You can join our Coach Better Facebook group, or you can find us on social media at Eduro Learning and send me a DM. I'd love to support you on your coaching journey. See you next time.